amount to what's left over in inventories, you're not working with, there's a limited amount, you're not working with that much supply. So you're starting with a base of a limited amount of silver to start with, no matter how you look at it. Next thing you look at is that we got this phenomenal investment demand that has kicked in starting about 4 years ago. It's been picking up in pace. The pace is nothing short of blistering. We have record amounts flowing into the various silver ETFs, including the big one, SLV. We're up to almost 300 million ounces. They've crossed the 297 million ounce mark this week, which from zero less than 3.5 years ago. It's just a stupendous amount of silver in comparison with how much limited supply we really have. That's perhaps on the institutional level. On the retail level, we're running also at a blistering pace. The U.S. Mint, for instance, has produced so much silver eagles, produced and sold so many silver eagles this year, along with their commemoratives. Unless they run out in this last month, they should come close to 30 million ounces of silver eagles and silver commemorative coins produced and sold this year, and that's at least 3 times more than the average rate over the last 10 years or so. So we've got this limited amount of supply, we got this tremendous and documented investment demand that's coming in, and then doesn't stop there. We also have, whether you want to believe, in my manipulation premise, we do have a giant short position. On the COMEX alone, when you take out the spreads, which deflates it, we still left with over 500 million, 500 million ounce short position. This is a short position. If you don't want to call it manipulative like I do, it's still a short position. It's silver that's still been sold and has to be closed out at some point. A short position is an open transaction. It's been pre-sold for 500 million ounces. We don't have that kind of silver available in the world to satisfy this short position. So whether you want to call it manipulative or not, it's a very bullish factor in the market. This has to be resolved at one point.
Well, Ted, this week I do want to break in here just for a minute because the U.S. Mint has suspended sales of most American Eagle coins. On the silver side for 2010, I think they're suspended indefinitely, and I think on the gold side they've suspended those as well. So people are going to have to go elsewhere for their gold and silver coins. What did you make of that?
Well, it's not a real big surprise. As I said, we've been on this frantic pace, the Mint producing and selling both gold and silver, particularly silver coins this year. Just a matter of time before they've never really got ahead of the demand, and there's been this race, this battle between them trying to produce as many coins as they can to satisfy demand. It looks like they just kind of hit a bottleneck right here. I don't see any limitation on the demand side. Any limitation in these coinages is on the supply side, and I think that's going to continue indefinitely. The surprising thing is that there's so few people, the percent of investors who are aware of the silver and gold, but particularly the silver situation, is so small. The percent of the investing public in silver is so small that it's remarkable when you think that they're running into these bottlenecks and running out of supply with the very small percentage of investors that are actually involved in the silver market. I shudder to think that if this becomes more widespread, there's no way that the Mint or any other retail or institutional supplier of silver is going to be able to have sufficient supplies for the demand that could come in if and when people start to realize what a bargain silver is.
And just to close out here, Ted, because I broke in there on the gold and silver eagle coin sales and the suspension there, or the halt of those. Do you have anything else on the fundamental side you wanted to add?
One last thing, Eric. I mean, I refer to it as my doomsday machine for prices to the upside on silver. And what that is I see the inevitable industrial user, silver user panic coming at some point in silver. We have been running for the last 30 years on the Japanese-inspired, just-in-time manufacturing and inventory process in which, you just don't keep any inventory. So what's going to happen is that this investment demand continues in silver. It's going to cause a real crimp and supply shortage that inevitably has to fall into the lap of the industrial user. And the minute the industrial users of silver start to get delays of their shipments of silver because of investment demand and other things, they're going to panic. They're going to run to buy silver and build up inventories. They don't want to shut down their manufacturing processes, their assembly lines. They need this silver to keep their production going. When they're threatened with not getting that silver on a timely basis, they're going to panic and buy more silver than they need to keep their assembly line, to guarantee them that they'll keep their assembly lines open. The force of these industrial users coming into the market to buy physical silver to ensure their own continued production is going to blast silver through the roof. There's just not going to, it's going to get more shortages. One user is going to be stepping ahead of another user, and there's no way to cool that off until we blow off in price and it just burns itself out.
Well, those are all very bullish factors for silver. As usual, on your interview page, we'll have a link straight to your newsletter. So anybody who's interested in that, just go to Ted's interview page and you can find the information right there. Ted, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Eric. Have a good weekend.
Thank you for joining us at KingWorldNews.com. Remember to tune in next week where we will have part 2 of John Malden's interview, the popular author of the weekly Thoughts from the Frontline and Outside the Box, as well as John Williams from ShadowStats.com. Also remember to go each week to our Gold Plus page for the exclusive interview with Ted Butler.